Welcome to the Airgun Show. This week we've got the punchy little CO2 powered Crosman 2250 XL on the test range. But first, it's time to crack down on some gluttonous grey squirrels that have developed a taste for peanuts. An early start this morning, we're back out on the squirrel control rounds. This particular patch of woodland is managed for wildlife, songbirds in particular. There are feeders dotted all about the place, and while they're getting visits from plenty of birds, particularly nuthatches, the grey squirrels have moved in and they're helping themselves to the feed in the hoppers. Now, while that's causing problems simply because they're emptying the feeders before the wild birds get a look in, the large population of grey squirrels is also a serious concern because they're predating on the eggs and on the chicks of those songbirds. Typically, they're also stripping bark from the trees, so they're damaging the trees too. So hopefully we can get a few today by targeting them at those feeders. I've been keeping a close eye on these woods and have already earmarked a spot that provides a good field of view and a safe shooting angle towards one of the feeders. Kit for today is the Daystate Huntsman Regal air rifle, MTC Mamba light scope, and that's clamped on with sports match mounts. These are British made, aircraft spec materials. You can identify original sports match from imitations through the blue mark on the top there. Right, well, these mounts are guaranteed for life. They're also guaranteed not to creep on recoiling air rifles, and although that's not a concern on the Huntsman, it's great peace of mind that we know that scope's clamped on very securely. Fully kitted out for the job, I drift on through the woods, and it's time to go quietly as I close in on the feeder. The Daystate's 10-shot magazine makes for fast shooting in the heat of the action. Success hinges on subtle concealment for this type of hunting. Rather than causing a disturbance by building a hide, I'm relying on my camouflage clothing, complete with face mask and gloves, to help me blend in with my surroundings. Finally, I'm ready for action. But I'm not expecting instant results. You need to allow time for peace to return to the woods before the squirrels venture back out. But there's no chance of getting bored. I keep scanning the trees for movement while enjoying the privilege of being in such wonderful surroundings. A regular supply of peanuts is irresistible to the grey menace. As calm returns to the woods, it's just a matter of time until we get a taker. This squirrel has just one thing on its mind: peanuts. It's not offering me a clear shot just yet, but I know my chance will come if I sit tight and bide my time. The patient approach pays off, and I'm presented with the opportunity I need to bag the first bushy tail of the morning. I reload and glance back at the feeder to find another squirrel has taken the place of the first. That's 2 clean kills in quick succession. The woods are coming to life as the sun rises and the morning wears on. There's no shortage of wildlife about, and the birds take advantage of the absence of boisterous squirrels to enjoy a meal from the feeder. But it's not long before another tree rat homes in. It's drawn in by the peanuts again, but is proceeding with caution, and there's no clear shot from my hiding place. It's another case of waiting it out until the squirrel makes a mistake. It looks like I've missed my chance, but the squirrel comes back down the opposite side of the tree and straight out onto the feeder to offer me a nice, clear shot. The tally is building steadily, and there should be time for more, so I keep scanning the trees for signs of activity. Thankfully, I don't have to wait long before I get another chance. This one is tempted in just like the others. It's on my side of the tree, but I need it to shift round so I can take a shot without risk of damaging the feeder. Finally, the squirrel obliges, and it's another one in the bag. Well, that's 4. It's gone a bit quiet now, so I think we've probably had our lot. So I'm going to break cover, pick up, and then maybe try another feeder, possibly bag some more. This hunt has certainly proved the advantage of sitting and waiting for squirrels to show themselves, rather than trying to spot and stalk them when the trees are in full leaf. You just have to pick the right spot. My final job here is to retrieve the shot squirrels and make my way out. I've made a dent in this area, so I'm heading off to target another feeder. But before that, there's just time to share a useful tip for squirrel shooters. Whether you eat squirrels or not, if you go out and make a decent bag, it's always worth hanging onto their tails. The fibres in their fur are used by trout fishermen to tie imitation fly hooks. If you've got a decent bag full of squirrels' tails, they may even give you a few quid for them. But at least if you've got a friend that goes fly fishing, they'll be much appreciated. And there you go. Well worth hanging on to. Well, that went to plan. Squirrel shooting can be tricky at this time of year. You tend to get a flurry of activity at dawn, then again at dusk, and it goes very quiet, often through the middle part of the day when they're just dozing through the warmer weather. Through making an early start and targeting them at the feeder, we've managed to bag 4, and I'm well pleased with that. Starving hungry for breakfast now, but I'm going to head off, stop off at one more feeder for an hour, and then head for home. That certainly proves the point that there's no such thing as a free meal. Now, it's over to the Airgun Show news.
This is the Airgun Show news. England's Brian Sampson made another addition to his impressive silverware haul by winning the Spring and Piston class in the World Field Target Championships in Wellington, New Zealand last weekend. The Team Solway Hotshot used an Air Arms TX200 Springer and a Bushnell Elite Scope to notch up 125 points over the 3 sessions. Scotland could be giving aunties more power to prosecute cases. The country is planning to let investigators from the Scottish Society for the Protection of Animals enter people's land and seize evidence. The Scottish Government said it didn't have the resources to tackle wildlife crime on its own, and would make sure that the SSPCA was transparent and accountable for all its actions. The shooting party has released a picture of the much anticipated Air Force One Trophy CO2 pistol. It will be available in .177 and .22 caliber with a standard retail price of £169.99. The nifty pistol weighs in at 888 grams and has a barrel length of 210mm. MPs are being called on to recognise the social value of shooting. Politicians have been debating the social economy, a term that covers collective enterprises and conscious capitalism. Basque's Alan Jarrett said shooting makes positive contributions which could not be replicated by either private or public sectors. The new Remington 1911 RAC CO2 pistol from SMK takes its design from the famous GI issue sidearm to stay true to the original American classic. The full-weight pistol has an all-metal frame and checkered brown grips to give a solid feel. With a field-strippable slide, beaver tail grip safety and fixed notch rear sight, it promises a fistful of plinking fun at the retail price of $99.95. That was the Airgun Show news.
On the test bench this week is the Crosman 2250 XL. This gun's powered by 12-gram CO2 capsules, and they make for much cheaper shooting than the 88-gram capsules that served as the cheek piece on this gun's stablemate, the King Ratcatcher. This model's also got an extra long 18-inch barrel, hence the name XL, and that should make for improved efficiency and accuracy. First impressions suggest that this is a no-frills airgun, built for functionality rather than style. The tough black polymer stock is certainly going to stand a few bumps and scrapes. It's not a gun that you're going to have to fret about looking after too much. Full length is just 88 centimetres, so it's also very compact. Looking more closely at the two-piece ambidextrous stock, the fore end is very short, but on such a light gun, it still balances perfectly well, and there are nice deep finger grooves here, which give a really good grip. The pistol grip is plenty big enough for adult-sized hands, and gives good trigger attack. The skeletonized butt section shaves weight down to just 1.5 kilos unscoped, and the cheek piece is perfectly high enough for good eye alignment with a telescopic sight. The finish of the metalwork is pretty much what I'd expect from a gun scope combo that retails for just £199. It's not brilliant, but it's good enough. The barrel is threaded to accept a silencer with a 1/2-inch UNF thread. All you do is unscrew the thread protector, screw your moderator straight on. To be fair, the gun's pretty quiet as it is, but if you're going to use it for backyard plinking, you might want to hush it down just a little bit more so as not to annoy your neighbours. There are no open sights, but the kit includes this 4x32 centre point scope and mounts. It's a pretty good little scope, and its proportions suit the 2250 perfectly. The mounting rails on top of the gun offer plenty of adjustment back and forth so you can get eye relief just right. Loading the CO2 capsules is very simple. All you do is loosen off the end cap here and then keep your fingers clear while the capsule discharges any remaining CO2. Then twist it all the way off, tip the empty capsule out, drop another one in, neck end first, tighten the cap back on and wind it down. That pierces the capsule and you're ready for action. The gun's .22 caliber and turning out power levels of around 8 foot-pounds, and you can expect to get about 30 consistent shots from a single CO2 capsule. To cock and load it, you simply lift the cocking bolt and pull it all the way back. Drop a pellet into the loading channel, which is a bit of a fiddle and would certainly be easier if the channel was a little bit longer. With the pellet seated, you then return the bolt and drop it down. The gun's then loaded, cocked and ready to fire. The manual cross-bolt safety catch works well and with a positive click each way. It's well positioned just behind the trigger, so you don't need to move your hand to push it off when you're ready to shoot. The trigger blade has quite a pronounced curve, but it is comfortable. It's a single stage unit, it's quite heavy and there's a bit of creep, but after putting a few shots through, I could preempt the break point quite easily. So, that's the 2250's main points covered. Let's see what it shoots like. Well, that's comfortably a sub 20mm group. It's not a high powered gun and it's not intended for long range use, so I have pulled the target into about 12 meters today, but that's good consistent shooting. All of those shots would amount to headshots on a rat at this range, so it's a gun that's well up to some pest control at closer range. One thing I would say is that the very light weight of the gun does make it tricky to shoot freestanding. I found that I tend to pull shots when I'm standing. There just isn't that weight to hold the gun while you pull against the trigger. But for sitting, ambushing, farmyard ratting, that group's well up to scratch. To sum up, I think the Crosman 2250 XL kit is a great little affordable combo. It's a lightweight, manageable gun that will suit adults and young shots alike. It's also a really fun gun to shoot on the range, in the garden, and it's accurate enough for close range pest control too. So I think with its very compact proportions, it would also be a great little tool for on the farmyard. Great gun. Thanks for watching. That's all for this week, but we'll be back again in a fortnight with the usual mix of hunting, news and reviews. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.